should be good right about there. All right. Hello, everybody. So we're back again. Today we are doing the... sorry, I think I just bumped that. We're doing Mark's version of the A300 or A330, whatever series you want to use it for, because they're all basically the same flat panel. So again, we're going to need a bunch of these M3 by 10 screws. I think I have 10 of them or more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. We're going to need 4 M4, what are these, by 16 screws to hold the frame together. These are M4 by 20s, which we're going to need those as well to be able to hold some of this stuff on here, which I believe those go right here for the rotary damper, which is what this is. We're going to need 2 springs. I have, I think these are both 10 millimeters. Yes, they're both going to be 10 millimeters. This one is about 15, 16 millimeters long. And then this one is 30, what is that? Sorry, the light's kind of reflecting. Let me look. I'd say about 33 millimeters long. Also, again, by about 10 millimeters. So those are going to go around the brass rod that you have. So as long as you have all the stuff that he he requires in his documentation, you should be good to go. Make sure you have all the screws you need, which these are M3, I think by 6. Yeah, M3 by 6. You know, it's not touching because I have the washers on there, which these are for the rotary damper, and I also have 2 for the bearings, for the little bitty bearings that we have. You'd need 2, these are 608 RS bearings. You're going to need 2 of these, which I only have 1. Where's my other one at? Goodness, y'all. Probably edit this out, because where in the world did my bearing go? That was for that. Oh my goodness, let me go get another one, because I only have the one. Good thing is I have a bunch. What is this? Huh, I wonder if these will work. 608Zs. Oh, running into stuff. Oh. Well, the only problem is it needs to be able to push all the way on there. This actually fit a lot better. So these are 608Zs. Okay. So we'll edit that out. And then I'll come back here. Alright, so you're going to need 2 of these 608Zs as well. 4, I think these are 2 millimeter by 8. Yeah, these are 2 millimeter. I'll tell you exactly how long they are. Oh my god, not 8. 18. Yeah, by 18. So 2 millimeter by 18. You need 4 of them. Make sure you buy more than that if you're going to build the speed brake as well, because you need like 8 of them for that. You're going to need your longer piece of metal tubing, and then you need a short piece that is going to sit, which one is it? Right in here. Sit in the bottom bearing carrier. So this just fits in there, which actually I can go ahead and put that in there. It's going to be a tight fit, so you might need... Oh, geez Louise, that is really tight fit. Hold on. Sheesh, there we go. I didn't get it in straight. There we go. So you want it to be flush with the tops like I just did. I just pushed it on my desk. If you can see that, here I'll show you like that. Sticking out the bottom is not going to hurt anything. You will need a bunch of M3x6 grub screws. We need 2 for this, 2 for this piece, which holds the other bar, or other tube, I mean, sorry. And then you need 2 for this, which holds the brass bar. So you need to make sure you have at least that many, which is 2, 4, 6. So we want to make sure we have 6 of them. Now, for these gears, he does have a grub screw hole. I have not had to use that because these gears sit on this shaft so tight. Excuse me, I burped, sorry. They sit on that shaft so tight that they breaks the shaft off when you try to remove it. So try not to remove it if you don't have to. For this will be my final assembly for this because everything is ready. I'm working on the arches that have the labels, but I have all my panels ready. I've got the back, which holds the light box, which is this little bitty thing because it only has just flaps. I got the middle, which I painted with spray paint frosted on one side, and then I have my painted and cut white 3mm white acrylic. So these all together equal 9mm thick, which is what the thickness is of all my other panels. Even the speed brake panels is 9 as well. So that's ready to go, but let's go ahead and get this assembled. Hopefully this is a little bit quicker than the speed brake video, which I'm probably going to refilm. Because it's vertical, this is horizontal, thankfully. So we'll take our 608Z bearings, shove them in there. They're not gonna fit super snug, which is fine because this whole piece, when you put it together, will hold itself together. I don't glue mine in just in case. You never know what's going to happen. You might break something on accident. Hopefully not. But it's good to not glue these in. They don't really need to be glued in. They get held together when you put the body together. All right, so we'll put that in there. Let me put my grub screws in here to secure this metal tube. Oh, maybe. Hold on. Sometimes it's hard to start them. There it goes. Oh, almost spoke too soon. There it goes. Now it caught. I did work my grub screws through all these holes already before filming because it just helps to work them in and out a few times just to create those threads and also push out any plastic that might be in there. So that's nice and snug. Let's get another one. Put it on the Allen wrench. Let's get this one tightened. Now again, you don't have to be, crazy with tightening these up. You want to get them snug and then give them like a half a turn. Because you want it to hold the piece in there, but we're not. This is plastic. It's 3D printed plastic. Ooh, there we go. Make sure I snug this side up just a little bit. So if you do it too much, you'll end up stripping it or getting it hot and getting it stuck in there. So we just want it like that. Yeah, because see, that is not going to move no matter what you do. So now, actually, we'll go ahead and we'll just put the bearings on here. Because we're building this. We're starting at the bottom, which is normal. So these are really cool because you see these detent, or these, you got your detents, then you have your blockers. So like this will sit in there, then you lift up. Can't go past that. Go to 2, lift up. You can go all the way to 3, but you can't go all the way to 4 or all the way back to 1. You have to let it down and then lift it up. And you can see on mine, I've got on the other side. It's kind of hanging over. I can trim that off, which I will do after this video. But if you don't really have to, because these bearings aren't going to go all the way out. Oh, see that one drop? But see, they're not going to sit like that. They're going to sit more, if you can see. Sorry, I'm trying to show you guys everything. If you can see, they're going to sit more inside like this. It's not going to be all the way against one side or the other. It's going to sit more in the, kind of in the middle, closer to the inside than anything. So we'll go ahead and put those on. Again, M3 by, I think, 6s. Yes, M3 by 6s. 2 of them with a washer, because I like the washer on here to spread the weight. Or spread, you know, the force of the screw down. And plus then it locks in more to the metal inner part of the bearing instead of, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Yes. I think it's this one. Here we go. It's a 2mm on these little, oh no, it's not, my bad. It's a 2.5. That's what it should be, yes. 2.5 on these little M3 screws. But it just spreads the force out a little bit and gives you something a little bit more to grip on. So just a little snug, make sure it still spins, perfect. Do the other side, whoops. Gotta back it up some to catch the proper grooves, there we go. Just go ahead and screw it in. A little snug. Make sure our bearings roll, which they do. As you can see, that's rolling nice. Same with this one. Which these bearings are very cheap, but they should last. They dang near should last forever. With what we're doing, you know, we're not putting this through a billion hours very quickly. We're not putting it through as many hours as most airline pilots will as well. All right, so that's built. Got our tube in there, which this is where one of the springs is going to go. It's going to sit right on there. Or actually, I think it's this one. Sorry. Yeah, it's this one. Sorry, it's the bigger one. Actually, this is a little bit bigger. This is a 10mm spring, and this one is, I think actually it's an 8. Let's take a look. Oh, I'm going to hold it up so I can see it. Oh, it's 9. My bad, guys. It's a 9mm spring by 33 by 33. It's the one I'm using. I got these springs out of an Amazon compression spring kit. So nothing crazy, right? Let's go ahead and put one of our walls on. So these have different angles on them. See, this one's a little bit steeper compared to this one. This one should go down here at the bottom because it's going to make, yeah, it does. See, it's going to make that smooth transition right there versus at the top. See, it's a little bit steeper, but it goes perfect with the top of this. So that's how you're going to know which side goes where. These don't matter which side you mount them on. They're the same. Both of these are exactly the same. But like I said, you just got to make sure you know which part is going where. And you can do that by when you put it on there. Look at it like this. And then you can also feel it. And you'll be like, ah, okay. Because if I put it this way, see, that doesn't really line up well compared to when you put it the correct way. It's perfectly like straight line. So let's go ahead and put these in, which these are used with these M3 by 10. Whoop. Should be able to start it with my hand. I've had it screwed in before. Oh, sorry if I'm out of frame. Apologize. There we go. So we'll get that one started, and then we'll start its brother. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Did I put it? Yeah, it looks like I've had a screw in there before. Yeah, there it goes. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get them to catch, especially if it's your first time putting the screw in. You're going to have to put some force on it. So a recommendation is to screw at least a little bit. Do some starter threads like halfway down the screw in every hole that's going to take a screw, just so when you're going to put it together like this, you're not sitting there struggling trying to get it all together. So Yeah, my microphone's still on. Sorry, y'all. I'm new to all this. I'm just trying to make some good content for everybody. Help everybody out that's trying to put these together, because they are confusing for a little bit. Now, you see that little split? I'm not worried about that. There's not one on this side other than over here, and then there's a little bitty one over here. If you're going to worry about it, you can take some super glue. I pointed off camera because that's where mine is. You can take some super glue and just put a little bit in there, just for your mind. You know, it's probably going to stick to the screw, though, so I wouldn't really do it. It's not going to go anywhere. That's not going to break, so you're good. So we got that together. Now we need this. Now this is... this piece, it can be a pain because it's got the holes for the rods, but the problem is, if you could see, you should be able to see all the way. You can go all the way through. So you push that rod in, see, it's going to go all the way through. So you're supposed to glue these in, which I'm actually, let's see, I should be able to pull this out with this. Yeah, there we go. Just work it out. Just be careful not to grip too hard. You don't want to bend or, mess up your cutters, which those are fine. So what you're going to want to do when you put these metal rods in, I have never glued them in. I don't see the need to. But so when you put your brass rod in, woo, jeez, got to be careful. So it looks like I've had mine all the way up here, so I can see it there. So what I do is I'll leave it like this, put my grub screws in, which I'll give you guys a measurement on how far up or from the top this is. Oop, if I can get this started, let me get a different one. I think it's got plastic in it. Like I said, I was using them to kind of run in and out. Okay. Which we'll verify as we're putting this together, how far up and down this piece needs to sit from the top. That's why he gives, like, basically you have access right here. Even though this is where the metal pins are going to sit, you can still reach through to get to this Allen key, which is actually going in sideways. There it goes. You got to be careful of that too. It should straighten itself out after it goes in a little ways, but try not to let it go in too crazy. Go ahead and get this one in here snug. Oop. All right, get one in the other side. Again, M3 by 6 millimeter grub screws. They're basically needed for almost everything you're going to build, because everything is about that thick as far as the walls and stuff go. Make sure it goes in nice and straight. And this is going to go like this, by the way. In here, it's going to go like this, because this is where your, this is where your main gear sits. So it's going to sit through here, through the bearing. Whoop. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and flip this to the short side so I can just hopefully get after it, getting it in here. Maybe, right? These little grub screws are a pain in the butt sometimes. I think that one just started pulling the plastic. Alright. They should. Yeah, goodness gracious. Those aren't going anywhere, though. So that's not going anywhere, which is good. Now what we're going to do... Actually, I'm going to do it this way. It's going to be a little stiff because I didn't grind this whole pole down to get this in here. Well, geez Louise. Maybe I need to. I have to run some sandpaper on that. My goodness. Sheesh. I might have that too far up though. All right, hold on though. Let me undo this now and go in from the other side. So with these brass rods, you have to use sandpaper to kind of thin them out a little bit to get them to fit better in these tubes, because the tubes can be very finicky as far as like what their actual inner diameter is. Same with these brass rods. Nothing's gonna be ever perfect. Because see, that should slide just in and out, but as you can see, it's getting stuck. So we'll go the other way. Oh, that's getting stuck as well. Why is that getting stuck? I might have the grub screws too tight. Let's actually back those out a little bit. It might be bending the tube in some. See what I'm saying? You gotta be careful with this stuff. The grub screws got a heck of a grip. Now the tube can move a little bit, so I'm gonna have to be careful. But I need to see why that's not wanting to go through there. It's like it's just getting stuck. It doesn't want to go through all the way. All right, we're gonna have to redo this real quick and figure out why we're having a hard time getting that in and out. Let's just, sometimes you got to do it like that. Hold on, let me get some pliers. See, I'm saying these tubes are a stubborn part of these builds. So I'll come over and show you what I'm doing to make this work. So, what we're doing, let me double check my camera. Yeah, it's all good. So, is it recording? Better be. All right. So, using some pliers, kind of trying to, if you can see, it's shaving. It's actually shaving some of this off to make it work better or make it get in and out easier. Hopefully you guys, oh, I don't think you guys can see, my bad. So we're going to just work it in and out. See, and that's still tight. It goes up and down this way now, but this bottom part is stiff. So what I'll do is I'll take my drill. Here, I'll show you guys how we're going to do this. So we'll get a drill, open it up, chuck this in there, and now we'll take some sandpaper. This is 220 grit, and I'll just hold it on here, kind of going up and down. I'm going to move it off the camera, but you can see this is all we're doing, trying to thin this brass rod out a little bit. I'm going to go all the way up and down this thing. Just do it for a little bit. See, you can see it's getting on my hands too, so I'm going to go wash it off. But let's see. Still a little bit. A lot better though. As you can see, now we can actually go up and down. But there's a little bit. Oh, nope. It might be this. Let's take a look together, huh? Looks like it's a little burry on the inside. But, yeah, we're good now. See, that should be smooth all the way. All the way up and down. All the way up and down. Sorry, let me try to get it in the camera. That's good. So let's make sure this one's good. Yep. Perfect. Let's double check. Whoop. Really hold on to it. Let's double check this side. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Make sure. Yep. Yep, all the way up and down the whole rod. So that's something that you're probably going to have to do just to make this fit and move smooth like that. which that's good. So what I'm going to do now for this, because I feel like this is a problem, let me get my files. So you just need to get you a little file set, and we're going to find, I think it's this one. I want to find the more curved one. Yeah, this one's good. So I'm going to go off camera, and I'm just going to file this. Whoops, sorry. I'm just going to file this out. Just a little bit. You don't want to go crazy, because you're not trying to create more grooves on the inside. And then you flip the tube, do the other side, and then we'll check it again. Sorry if that was loud. So just a little bit. See, we're just cleaning it up. Oh yeah, so that's perfect now. Oh yeah, all the way up and down too. Even on this side, which was our trouble side. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. It's looking great. So I'll be right back. I'm going to pause the video. And I'm going to go wash these off with some water so I can wash my hands too. Plus, you don't want all this stuff, all this metal on your hands. It ain't going to kill you or nothing, but, you know, I want to be clean. I don't want to spread it everywhere. So I will be right back. All right. I am back. Let me move my drill out of the way. Whoop. Let me move it over here. All right. As you can see, there's metal. Use my paper towels, kind of clean it up some. All right, now that that's cleaned, let me use my Q-tips, because you want to make sure you get all this water out. So we're just going to go in here, plus it gets any extra metal out. Clean it up, dry it out, and then we'll go ahead and put this back in and tighten it down. Actually, let me throw that away. I don't want to keep it up there. All right, let's put this, there it is. Let's put this back in here. That's got hair on it. All right. Let's put it this way. Sheesh, maybe. Getting this in here is not easy. Just got to push it in. Use your desk. Use a vise, however you need to do it. Oops, I bumped my head on there. Yeah, it's still recording. Okay. Perfect. So now that's good. Let's go ahead and tighten it back up. Whoa. Whoa. Man, I don't know about where y'all live, but it is humid out here, man. Golly, it's like 90 degrees. It's got to be in the 70+ percentile of humidity. All right. Excuse me. So that's back on. Put our little spring back in there. We'll get our brass rod. No, we don't need that yet. Yes, we do. I apologize, y'all. So we're going to build it like this. We'll put this in here. Well, actually, yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. We'll put this in here. Now we can actually get the brass rod in here. What in the world? But anyways, all right. So now we got this, our brass rod in here. It is a little stiff still, so I should have probably sanded it down some more. Because that tube with those grub screws in is kind of tight now. But we're able to get in and out as far as we need. So we'll put our spring on. Whoop. Our little 10mm spring fits right in there. This fits over, which we'll actually put it this way. Or no, sorry. Yeah, we'll put it this way. So this fits over, again, the grub screws you can get to from this rail here, which we need to make sure, yeah, it can fit in there. So, which we don't want it to be stiff in there. We're going to tighten that up here in a second. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm just making sure everything is working properly, which it is. Okay. Let me get 2 of these 2mm by 18 or 19 millimeter. Oof. Sheesh. There we go. Make sure it's all the way in. Again, I'm not gluing these in because they touched the brass rod. I don't want them to get super glued to the rod. Let me see. Sorry, y'all. Let me see if I can figure out where I had this attached. Oh, it looks like right there. Because you're going to leave a little bit out the bottom. So let me go ahead and tighten this up. Whoop. Sorry. It's hard to see, y'all. It's in there. The grub screw is. We'll go ahead and screw it down so that way these can sit flush. Alright. That's in there. Yep, that's nice and flush now. Go ahead and tighten this one down. That's nice and tight. Yeah, that's working perfect. See, that's what we want. Which that spring, obviously, it's not working super great right now because we don't have the return spring on the top. But that's what we want. That's perfect. So now we'll take our top piece, slide it down. And actually, I'm sorry. We will... No, we can. We can go ahead and put it on. Oh, my bad. We actually need to put our spring on, our top spring on. So that'll sit there, and this will come down. See, now it's going to start wanting to work. Because now we're going to have the tension from the springs. So we'll go ahead and put 2 of our M3 by 10 millimeter screws in the top here. Which, since I've already used these holes before with these screws, they're going in nice and easy. So again, like I was saying earlier, try to just run your screws in at least a little bit, just to give yourself some help when you, when you are putting this together. Otherwise, it's going to kind of be a pain in the butt. So that's nice and snug. Make sure we snug this one up. All right, now the grub screw isn't for the brass. The brass needs to be able to move. Otherwise, the whole mechanism doesn't work. Oh, it's kind of stiff, but it's because this isn't straight, because it doesn't have the other piece on. So what the grub screws in that are for this, for your second silver tube. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put this in here. You should be able to see. We want this to be flush with the bottom, which with the spring in there and the tension, that's going to be flush. So we'll go ahead and get our grub screws in and get them nice and snug. So that doesn't, our top silver tube doesn't move. Again, try to run your grub screws in a little bit before you. Oh, that's nice and tight. Before you do start working on this, just to give yourself some help when you're starting to put it together. Because it's a pain in the butt when you're first trying to do these screws if you're trying to assemble it for the first time. Again, M3 by 6 grub screws. Get a bunch because you're going to need them for this, the flaps. You're going to need them for my parking brake panel. Whoops. There we go. Let me go ahead and use the short side and try to get it in a little bit faster. Nice and snug. So now that's not moving, which is perfect. Because you're going to attach your handle. Is that being stubborn? That's alright, we'll put it together. We'll see what it's like here in a second. This is where you're going to attach the top part of your handle, which mine is drying right now. So you'll put the bottom part of the flap handle here, And then you'll put the top up here. Whoops. Maybe. If I can grab these. Go ahead and get this in here. Which actually, I need to undo these screws in here. I need to get my brass rod actually up higher. It's a little too far down. See, that's too far. Because when I put it in here, see, it's going to hit. So, that's the whole point of this. You know, a little bit of trial and error when you're doing these. When you're putting these together. It's going to take a little bit to get it right. So we'll go ahead, just loosen this up a little bit, and then I'll loosen the other side up a little bit. When I say a little bit, give it a few turns, because you want to make sure it's loose. There we go. Whoops. All right, let me see. Yep. I'm going to get it. Whoop. I'm going to get it to where there's only a little bit, which what I'll do, to test it, is I'll make sure when it's sitting in here that it's not going to hit. See, that's what we want to make sure. So. Oh, that's so far down now. So what we can do, whoa. Everything's falling apart. So what we can do to make sure is put this up here. Oh boy. Why is that not working right? Oh, it came out too much up the top. I just want it to come out a little bit. But why is that not? Daggum, y'all. I put this on upside down, I think. I did. I put it on upside down because, see, it's not going to sit far enough. It has to be flipped the other way. So, let me take this apart, but that's okay. Whoops. Jeez Louise. It's all part of, you know, learning, putting this together. We're doing it together, so learn from my mistakes. Sounds like a bird chirping. These Allen screws sometimes. It's funny. But I always put them back where I got them from, because that way you never lose it. So what we'll do, since it's loose, we'll just take these top screws out. So this also show you a little trick about, you know, not having to undo everything just to fix a mistake that you might make. Which I'm going to leave the... Whoops. You see how that spring works? Shot that right off. But see, this is perfect. It's actually a little low, but it ain't going to hurt nothing. So what we'll do now... Actually, I apologize. Let me go get my small needle nose pliers so I can pull those pins out. Actually, let me bring both of these over there. So, what we're going to do, hopefully, gently, yep, boom. Just grab them. Try not to shove in there. You know, you don't want to wear that out or open it up, because they got to sit. Oh, sorry, let me not put that there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to flip it, which makes sense because that's where that spring sits. Actually, we're going to do it this way. Yep. So what I'm going to do, though, since I know where I want my brass rod, you only want it sitting out a little bit, which we'll actually measure. So you only want it sitting out about, from the bottom, about 10 millimeters at most. So we're going to try to hold that while we put or tighten our grub screws up. Let me go to the other side. Whoops. Whoa. Kind of all over the place here. Let me get this in here. Oh, see, I came out. So now I'm going to have to measure. Oh, actually, it's already screwed in, so never mind. So we can just see, once it's tight on one side, we're kind of good. Get that nice and snug so that's holding. We'll take 2 of our little stainless steel rods again. Whoops. There we go. Try not to use your nail like I just did. Use like your Allen key or something. Just give it a gentle push to make sure it's all the way in. Push it in initially with your thumb. Boom. Just do a little push. Because now, see, perfect. All right. Now let me double check. Yeah. See, so now it's a little snug, but now you see we're in the track. But see what I was saying earlier about not worrying about this? Because see, it's like halfway in there. It's perfect. Which this obviously isn't shoved all the way back in yet, but it's not going to go all the way back. And even if it does, those aren't going to interfere. All right, so now we have that. Let's put our top spring and our top back on. And again, you're going to have to work this a little bit to kind of hold this in here. We'll take 2 M3x10s again. Start them by hand if you can. Like I said, try to make sure you run your screws in before you start just to help yourself out during this process. Because you saw when I took this apart, I accidentally let go and it shot over there. Thankfully, it didn't shoot off the table. I'd have to crawl underneath and get it. Oh, and our brass rod's actually out a little far again. So, we're going to have to loosen that up. Now this top spring's on here and get it kind of shoved up some. Let's get this up here. Whoop. There we go. Yeah, see, that's too far down. We don't want it that far down. Whoop. Is it moving? Yeah, I think it's moving good. See if we can get it to trim itself. Which it will. It will definitely do that. So make sure you get this trimmed really good. Or sanded, get it nice and smooth. So that way it's not, see, this is sticking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart and we're going to sand that down some more. Because we need it to be super smooth. You don't want it to be having a hard time like it is now. Otherwise, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience when you're having to manually push the flap, that handle back down. It's annoying. All right, let me see if I can get it out all the way. Oh, see, I can't even. I have to push it out this way. There we go. Now this will hold together. We're going to try to be careful to not let it hopefully go anywhere, which if you're worried about it, just take that spring out just like that, and we'll put it back in here in a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sandpaper and I'm going to hit both sides until it's super smooth in and out of there. And again, like I said, I'll take it upstairs and I'll wash it off just to make sure. So again, get your sandpaper. Just wrap it around here. You don't got to do anything crazy. Just kind of hold on to it. Whoops. And then just work at it. Just like this. Let me do it off camera so I don't get it all over my desk. Pull down a little bit. Provide a little bit of friction. And then we'll try it. But you can just leave it on the drill. We want to make sure it's going to go in and out of there. And it's still tight. So we'll take it out. Let me get some little bit rougher sandpaper so it's faster. I think we'll do like 120. One of these over here. That's an 80. We don't want that. We don't want that crazy. Yeah, so we'll do a 120 grit, which I just use these. Just your pads for like a rotary sander. And again, just hold it on there. And Go up and down. This is going to take a lot more off, so you just got to be careful. You don't want to overdo it. Which, if you could see in here right now, it'd be raining. Raining stuff. So let's see. Still a little bit. Still a little bit harder to go in and out of there. Nope. Yeah, it's still, even in the middle part, it's kind of getting stuck in and out of there. So we're going to keep going until it's nice and smooth in and out. Sheesh. Let me get my wet napkin actually that I used earlier just to make sure that sucker cleaned off. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, see how that's nice and smooth down here? It's not bad up here really either, but what I'll do now is I'll flip it around and we'll do this side. We'll get this side nice and smooth too. That way, if you're putting the rod in, it doesn't matter which side, which actually this isn't even that bad, but we'll run it a little bit on there because it is kind of stiff in the middle. See what I'm saying though? It doesn't take long to do this. And you just got to be careful. You don't want to overdo it. Which this is a solid brass rod. It'd take a little bit to kind of overdo it. I'm going to take my shop vac here in a minute and clean all this up. But see, you can still, I mean, there's still a lot of life left on that sandpaper too. It's kind of wearing it out in the middle. Obviously, that's where I'm holding. I take my wet napkin, kind of clean that off some. I'm still going to go wash this so I can wash my hands because I have crap all over my hands. Let's see. Oh, that's smooth all the way up and down. So, that's what you want. Smooth all the way up and down. Which if you want to, heck, run it in here. Help clean these tubes out too. With friction, clean them out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Blow a little bit in there. Let's do it the other way. Make sure we're good all the way around here. Oh, don't spin it too early. There we go. Make sure we're good all the way around. All right. There we go. We lost our other spring too, which is fine. We just put it back in. I'll show you guys how to do that here in a second. I will be right back. I'm going to go wash this, and I'm going to shop vac my floor because I have brass dust everywhere. So I will be right back. All right. Got all that cleaned up. Did a little bit of cleaning up my mat. Accidentally vacuumed this up. All right, we got that cleaned off. All right, so now our brass rod is clean. It's been sanded down, which it's still super smooth. That's the best part about brass. Doesn't get anything crazy. Clean all that out. Sorry if it was loud, I apologize. Put this back down. Whoop. Get your butt in there. Shove this brass rod through. All right. We'll put it to where, honestly, we'll put it to where there's a little bit more at the top. Won't hurt nothing. Oh, I forgot to put the dang top spring back in. See? It happens. Just push it in. Work it. It's going to kind of be a pain in the butt, I'll tell you that right now. But once you get it, there, oh, dang it. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. See, once it's on there and it's in, we're good. Obviously. So we'll just leave that out just a little bit. Because this needs to be able to move. Oop, I don't want it moving out that much. Here, we'll go ahead and push it out just a little bit more. Like I said, about 10 millimeters out, and it'll be good. Whoop, don't do that because you don't want to strip your screw. Which that has stripped the plastic, unfortunately, on that side. Thankfully, this side is holding very well. So if it does strip the plastic out on one side, it should be fine as long as the other side holds. If they both strip, you're going to have a problem. You just have to reprint that part. Nice and tight. Yep. Yeah, perfect. See, you want to make sure it kind of goes all the way up and down. It's not going to go all the way up, though, because that spring, can't beat the spring. Perfect. That's how it should look. Now we'll put this on. Remember, this side goes down here, and then this side goes up here. And the way you can tell that, again, is by the feel and the look. See how that creates that straight line, and up here, it creates the straight line off this curve, too. Again, we will use M3x10s. Go ahead and get those started by hand. I'll put all 4 of mine in just to get them started. Put that in. Put this one in. Oops, sorry, it's going in crooked. There we go. Should start going in straight once I get the Allen key on there. Get that one in. Go ahead and start with this one. Make sure it's not going to go crooked on us now. Nope, it's going straight in. Perfect, that's what we want. Sorry if I'm clearing my throat. Again, allergies are just wild this year. Go ahead and get this in. Which by us putting this together will straighten this whole mechanism out, because if you saw, when we just had the one side on, it kind of pulls to that side. Which that's fine when you're putting it together, but when you get it together, it should straighten itself out for the most part. Whoops. Nice and snug. And then we'll get this one. And then we'll make sure we put our little metal rods in too. Cannot forget that. That helps keep the mechanism in line where it belongs. So we'll put the top one in if it helps, which it does for me. You look on the side, push in again, use your Allen key. Honestly, if you want to do it like this, like just like this, because that'll help. Then we'll put our bottom one in. There we go. For this one, we're going to use the top. Boom, there it is. Once it bottoms out, that's it. And those aren't going to come out. Oh, a little bit of 3D print. That's how it should be. It should snap back like that. That's what you want. That's perfect. Sorry if y'all heard that. It's just some washers falling. I like to do it a few times just to make sure everything looks good on both sides. Perfect. Which that's sticking out a little far. We'll find out if it's too far. Again, it's got a, whoops. Sorry, dropped my cutting board. That's got a little bit of that powder on here from the brass rod. Just wipe it off with a damp cloth. Get that off. All right. Throw that away. Now we can set this on here. You're gonna have to pull it down a little bit to get it home where it goes. And that should be flush like that. And that's perfect. Which this should. Y'all know what? I think I have all this upside down. Because it should lift up, not push down like I have it right now. Oh my goodness. I might have to restart this whole video and just save the good parts. Goodness gracious. Get that off. Why am I having a brain fart on this? I just built the thing. Because it should... Oh, I have it back. Oh, I have the springs backwards, don't I? No, because that should be how that goes. Huh. What in the world am I thinking here? Alright, we're recording again. Alright, y'all. So, I apologize. The bigger compression spring goes down here with the smaller one up here. And I'll show you how it works here in a second. Let me get my brass rod in here where I want it, which we don't want it crazy far out, so I'm going to leave it like there. That's about 5 millimeters. So, let's tighten this up. Which that one's loose. I'm going to reprint this off camera and replace mine. I'll probably print it out of PLA, to be honest with you, because it'll be just fine. And it'll have better tolerances than this Pet G I'm using. Let's see if I can get this one tight. This one might be stripped as well. No, it's getting there. Alright, that should be tight. Yes, okay. So, it goes like this. Because when you have it in here, you're going to lift up on the bottom part of the flap handle right here, which is going to push it up this brass rod and allow us to move just like that, which I'll show you here in a second. Let me get the bearing back in. Let me put this other side on too, which I'll leave all this in the video to show you guys. Like, man, it's, you know, everybody makes mistakes. It's part of life. I got it corrected the proper way, and I'll show you guys how it all works. Excuse me. Screw that in. Get this screwed in, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, because we can put the other screws in with it all together. Alright, got our metal pins in there. Get this, whoops, whoa. We'll get this in here. See how it's sitting in there now? Push that in. And so now, whoa. See how the bearing doesn't sit in there all the way, which is fine. Well, we don't want to flap too. Alright, so see, it doesn't sit all the way out either. So what you're going to do is we'll have the bottom of the flap handle. This will be the top part, you know, where you put your palm, and you'll lift up, and then boom, 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 just like that. Works beautifully. So now that's all built, we will put the top body on. So that's all good. Oh, hold on, I apologize, y'all. Let me put my other screws in real quick. These 3x10s. Whoop, come here. There it is. Go ahead and put this one in. Want to make sure this is all built nice and solid. Whoop. Get this in here. Nice and snug. Whoop. We'll get this one in. Fix my glasses, make my nose sound weird. And then Get this nice and snug. There we go. Again, they don't need to be crazy tight. This is printed plastic. Alright, so that's perfect. We'll make sure this goes on. Nice. We'll put our bearing on. For mine, it's a little stiff, but that's fine because this is going to grip the inner part then more. We'll put our little washer on, our little 3D printed washer, which comes with his files. We'll put that on. I will go ahead and screw this down with our M4 by 16 screws. They should start by hand because I've already had this together because, you know, I got to make sure it works before I film this. Go ahead and put this in here. This in here. And this in here. Let me get my T-handled Allen key. This is a 3mm, which is funny, but it's a 3mm hole on the top of the screw. That's in. Go ahead and get this one in. Snug. Whoa. Wanted to keep the Allen wrench for a second. Get this one in. Actually, I think the top ones might be my longer Allens. Because that's getting snug, but these are kind of spinning. So let me take these out. I think these will be for the damper. Let me try this one, which this is a... I want to say, nope, it's a 20. M4 by 20. Which that's what I used up there. You could use the 16s, but if you've already used the 20, you kind of have to use it again. So let me go ahead and put this up here. And if this gets tight, oh, that'll be correct. Yeah, it already is getting tight. Yep. Get this one in. Nice and snug. So these two will be for this damper adapter. So now that that's in, sorry, I got to clean it off after we did all that brass work. So you got to make sure this lines up with this flat spot right here. So I'll go ahead and line mine up. Boom, push it down. See how it's got that nice gap in there now? Which it all still works. You want to make sure it works. Which honestly, see how that's a little loose? It's not really pushed down all the way. It's not really tight. I'm going to get a better spring for the top. So that way it's nice and, you know, snappy back and it actually isn't loose like that. I want it to be nice and tight because then it just gives you that more robust feeling, you know. But for this, it'll be fine. So now that's on. We'll take our Bansbach Easy Lift Rotary Damper. This is your part number if you want to look it up. You can go to this website. But this is what you want for his adapter. And all this does is just help it move smoother like our speed brake did. If you watch that video, if not, you'll see what I mean as soon as I get this assembled. I'll show you because I'll put it on here and I'll show you what I mean by how it dampens it. It just makes it super smooth. So we'll use our M3 by 6s with a washer. Just get it nice and snug. You don't want to do anything crazy. Right. Get this on here. Get it nice and snug. There we go. See, again, I use washers to help spread that, to evenly distribute that screw. So that way it's not, you know, just in one spot. We'll take our adapted gear for this, flat spot to flat spot. Push it right on there. See how it's nice and stiff? It's kind of hard to tell with my hands, but I'm trying to turn it a little bit faster. But it's nice and damp, and it gives a really good feeling. We'll make sure those mesh, which they do. It's kind of hard to see in the video. I apologize, but they are meshing perfectly together, which is what you want. You want it to mesh nice and good, and tight, because you don't want it flapping in there. You want to have a nice solid contact patch. Go ahead and get this screwed in. These are a little bit long-winded screws, but these are thick pieces of plastic, so you kind of want something to get some deep threads in there, get some really good grip on this plastic. There we go. That one was kind of trying to go in crooked. I kind of pushed it up with my finger. Make sure everything goes in straight, because if it starts going in crooked, you'll start breaking this plastic and stuff, and you don't want to do that. So we'll get this screwed in. Sorry if you can't see, I'm just screwing this in there nice and snug. Alright, so see, it just makes it to where you're not, you know, flying back and forth like I was before. It just gives a nice dampened feeling to it. Again, I'm going to put a stronger return spring in there just so it gives a better, you know, tactile feel. But that's how you want it to work, just like that. It's working perfect. Now, if you think this is sticking up too far, it's not. Trust me. That head that he has, it'll eat a lot. Like, it'll hold a lot of that. But you got to remember, this has got to be able to come up too. So, it all works perfect, though. It's all very well designed. Now, again, for this is part number P3022V1CW360. It's a 360-degree Hall sensor. Now, if you mount it like this, you will mess up. It won't work properly, in Mobi Flight, because what it'll do is it'll act like it's all the way around, and then it'll reset, and it won't give you proper readings. So you need to mount it like this, so it gives you proper readings in between the 0, I think in 1023 or something, or it's even higher than that, I think, for this. So you want to make sure it's in here. We'll go ahead. We'll keep it pulled back. We'll start our screws. Maybe. Let me get my Allen key to help me start these screws. There we go. Yep. And these are gliding right in. Okay. Let me loosen it just a little so I can move that. These are M3x10s as well. Get this one started. There it goes. See, once you get those threads in there, it kind of does all the work for you. So we'll get this down. Not all the way, because what we're going to do is in here, see, if you pull it away, it barely grabs. You want to push it all the way up in there. Not hard, just give it a gentle push. Kind of hold it with your hands, or your hand like this, and then just snug that up. Go over here, make sure it's still pushed. Just like that. Because you want that good mesh with the gear. See that? How it's nice and smooth now. Right in there. Boom. And so for this one is very, very simple to wire up as far as LEDs go. Or not LEDs, sorry. As far as this rotary sensor goes. It's just a ground, your common, or your, not your common, sorry, your out, so your signal wire, and then your VCC, which is a 5 volt, which every, for the most part, every one of the Nanos has. So what I'll do is I'll do green, since I'm out of black. I'll do green for my ground. I'll do red for my 5 volt. And then I'll probably do blue or yellow for my, for my signal wire. So it doesn't really matter what you use for your signal wire, just make sure you know what it's for. So I'll cut that, get a good long piece of wire. Let me turn my soldering iron on. Yeah, sorry. I should have just reached around, my bad. Get you some good wire strippers. See So you can just do that. You're not sitting here, you know, trying to use the old school ones that worked great back in the day. Not really too great now. They're kind of annoying. Let's set that out of the way. Plus, you end up usually cutting the wire. Let's get that out of the way. Let me get my red wire cut, which I'm doing these super long because, I don't have my pedestal yet. Once I get it and get these set in there, I can take wire dimensions because these are all going to wire into my parking brake panel, just so it's nice and cohesive. You know, it's just one sweet little device that sits in there and controls all of this instead of having, you know, one per device. And then these will all work through MobiFlight too, so it'll be nice. I'll have profiles for them for the Tolus and the Phoenix. I'll make sure I get all this stuff set up for you guys. That way you just have to download and go. What's not to love about that? Let me pull my wires in. There we go. Kind of want them different ways. I'll trim them down once I tin them, but we're not too worried about it right now. So we'll go ahead and get this. I'm going to set this to the side for now because I need to bring my fan in. That has a bug on it. Get out of here. Well, there you get out of here. Dang bugs, man. They don't know what's good for them. So, we'll clean our iron, which I know I need some new copper in there. I need to tin this again as well. But it's going to do what we need it to do. So we'll go ahead and tin these wires. I solder about 700 degrees. I'm pretty hot and fast with it. It's just how I've been. I've gotten used to it. Go ahead and tin these. Sorry, I was looking at the camera, making sure we're good. Just run it down, flick it off. Go ahead and do the same. Doesn't take long when you're at 700 degrees to get that solder rolling. Make sure we flick off the excess. Get this one on. Hope this is all in frame. I apologize if it's not. There we go. Oh, it is. Okay. Alright, so now all these are ready. We can move our helping hands out of the way, which this is OmniFixo. It's the best set of helping hands I've ever used in my life, and I've used a lot. Because when you do stuff like this, you start running through stuff. Alright, so I will start the closest one towards me, which is the ground. So we'll take our iron. Whoops, don't try not to get it on the body, but I'll set it on this post, which I already have solder on, so make sure you tin your post too. Takes a little bit for these posts to get heated up, but once it does, it'll pop this wire right on in there. It'll kind of basically start taking it with it. Oh, let me try on this side. There we go. Got to get it liquidy. You know what? I don't have enough solder on that post. So what we'll do is we'll get this post hot, which it still is. We'll load it up with some solder on there. You want it to have a nice amount of solder on here. We'll get this one nice and tinned. We'll get this one nice and tinned as well. Having those globs on there is fine. That's what we want, because then it'll just hold this on here. It gives it more of a home. So what we'll do is we'll get this in there. Hold it while it's still hot, because it's going to take a second to get stiff. Boom. There we go. We'll get our, we'll get our sensor wire. Hold it as steady as you can. Whew, some of that feels like it takes forever to get hot again, or to get cold again, but it does take a second. Oh, so you gotta try not to move it. There we go. Boom. That's it for soldering that up. It's so simple. Now we'll take our flush cutters. That's what these are. And we will trim off, put your finger on it so it doesn't shoot in your eye. Trim that off, which actually took a little solder with me, so just kind of be careful. Trim this one off. And then we'll trim this one off. There we go. Now, take our tweezers to kind of pick this up. Put it in your hand. Throw it away. And that's it for soldering this up. Soldering it to your Arduino board is very simple. You just tie it into the 5-volt for the VCC, ground obviously, and then just pick a pin, an analog pin for your sensor wire. And that's it. So now, I'll turn this off. Hopefully it's not loud, but you need to make sure you have one of those. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in. You'll put your light blocker on. That's what that's for. Put that on there, and then we'll put our panels on, which obviously they're not done. I got my humps. Sorry, the humps with the labels still being printed. Or not printed, sorry. They're drying right now. So, we'll put that up there just to show you. And we'll have the humps right here with the labels, so it'll look beautiful. I actually have some ready. I just don't like how they look. Let me go grab them real quick so I can show you exactly what this will look like. So the reason I don't like these is because they kind of went on crooked and you can see too much white, and I don't like that. So I printed 4 more and redid them. I printed 4 because I always do extra. So how this is going to go, which the LEDs go in the bottom. That's where they go. So how this is going to go is you'll super glue this. Whoop, if I can get it in here. See, it's kind of a tight fit. Hold on. Whoop. Yeah, you got to be careful. These things like to fall because of how the weight is distributed. Hold on, y'all. Sheesh. Whoops. Sorry. Let me get this in here, maybe. Sheesh. Golly, do you need to super glue that in there? That sucker is tight. Oh, because the paint on this top panel's a little thick. So it's kind of being a stubborn butt. There we go. Might have to repaint the top panel. But it shows you how snug of a fit this is. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to... There we go. Get this in here to give you a better look. Alright. Alright. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Look how good that looks. So, and we'll have some fun with it, right? We'll run through it. So we're all the way up. Flaps 1. Boom. Look at that. Lines up perfect. Flaps 2. Flaps 3. And then 4. Ready for landing. Or if you're doing a flaps 3 landing, which make sure you press the button on the overhead panel, right? Alright, but see that? Look how good that looks. With these humps in here. Once they're lit up. And once that's lit up, which this is the light box for that, which doesn't go up top, obviously it goes on the bottom. But yeah, look at that. Look how good that looks. And that's going to look so good in the cockpit, in the pedestal, once I get all that and get it painted or assembled, obviously first, and painted, which we will definitely do some videos of that so you guys can see everything step by step. Following Sim Guy's entire cockpit, because I'm doing the whole thing. I'm doing the frame, I'm doing the floor, we're doing all of it. I'm going to do a little custom subfloor underneath it. Man, that's so cool. Sorry, it's so much fun to play with that. That just feels so good. And it's not going out of these spots either, see? It's holding in there. I just want that return spring to be a little bit stiffer. But other than that, you see how that looks and how it's working. It's working beautifully. But see, those are nice and tight in there, which honestly, goodness, I don't even know if you need to super glue them to hold that in. I mean, look, it ain't even falling apart. Oops, sorry. This thing is very lopsided heavy because of this. But yeah, it looks great. Which actually, if you wanted to, you could actually do it the other way too. That's the best part. So that way all the weight's over here, which actually is probably what I'm going to do. Because that puts all the stuff over here, just run all the wires together this way. Not a bad idea. But again, it lines up either way. 3, full, 3. You can't go from 3 to up. You have to go into 1, and boom. It's beautiful. It's a great piece of kit. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm not going to wire up these LEDs yet. I will make a video to show how to do that. For this light box, I'll show you that real quick, though. That is not difficult at all. Let me set this to the side. I'm going to lay it down so it doesn't fall over on me. So what we're going to use for that, all my LEDs are 12 volt because I'm going to use Sany's Sany SL3s, which this is just going to use one. I'm going to use his light control panel that he's just now coming out with, which I'm super excited for. I already ordered it. I pretty much order everything he comes out with. That dude is insanely talented. But if I can get this off, guys. Ay. Hold on. I already peeled it. Let me see if I can grab it. There we go. See, some of that stuff is a pain in the butt. Oh, I shouldn't have done that again. Dang it, I did that last time too. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'll set it up here. And I will tin these pads real quick. Let me get my solder. And we will run us some wires. Again, they're going to be long. Because I don't know the distance yet. Right, we won't know until we start building, which then I'll start giving out distances and stuff for you guys. So everybody can kind of follow along and we're all kind of cohesive on it. And you guys are like, oh, how far is it? And you'll have all the information you need. Oops. Yeah, these pads are a pain in the butt sometimes, by the way. Come on. Oh, see, it fell off. Doesn't want to stick. Now it did. Okay. Let me put my iron up. We will use green again for ground and red for positive. Get some long wire. Boom. Which the best part is... Oh, ran out. Alright, need to make sure I order some. I'll actually do that after this video while I'm editing it. So... Well, whoops. Sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to shake the whole thing. My bad. Jeez. We will get this wired up real quick, which we don't need anything crazy long. I'm giving it a little bit more than that. There we go. I like to have these a little bit long because it doesn't matter, because it's just going to sit just in there, in that solder. So it all works out. Get this side, and then take it. To always twist your wires. Just makes life so much easier. Let's get our helping hands, our Omnifixo. Bloop. And we will go ahead and tin these wires. Everybody can see. All right. Whoa. Which honestly, after we tin, if we want to trim the wires up, it's super easy. You just use your flush cutters. Oh, I forgot to turn my fan on. Hold on. Let me finish this one since I'm already in it. See, I'm not used to having it. I just got it the other day. So, I need to get used to using it. Just to help, sheesh. Whew, protect my lungs. Using this lead solder. Which I'm not going to use unleaded solder because unleaded solder sucks. It's such a pain. So if you have to use it, I'm sorry for you, but it is such a pain in the butt because it takes forever usually to melt, and it's just a nightmare trying to get everything done. Alright, so now that that's done, we'll take our ground. Oh, hold on, let me move some of my stuff out of the way. I apologize. Get these out of the way. Alright. So, we'll take our ground and get it melted. Which we're going to try to do Just like that. Shove it in. Oh, I went underneath. My bad. Whoop. Jeez, now I got stuff all over it. It's alright, we'll burn it off real quick. And that's on there now. So see, that's why you have that exhaust fan. Get that junk out of your face. Because I accidentally went underneath on that. That's my bad, yeah. Whoop, see, I went underneath again. Let it get nice and tight. There we go. Clean that off. Let me get this out of the way. Which I shouldn't have taken the blue backing off. That is my bad. Let's go ahead and cut this just a little bit. Just got to be careful you don't cut anything. Oh, hold on. That one's being kind of stubborn. Let's bend this one up. Oh, bam. There we go. Get them a lot more flush. So what I'm going to do for this, because I took the backing off early. Sorry, let me turn that off. Put a little bit of super glue. Oh. Hold on, actually, my bad. Let me not do that just yet. Let me run my wires through real quick, as I got super glue on my hand, so I'm going to glue my hand together. Alright, let's see. Let's get this one through. Whoop. These are kind of a pain to get through. But once you get it, it's, obviously you're good to go. You just got to be patient with it. Maybe. Maybe? Goodness gracious, I might have to use my tweezers. There we go. See, you just gotta use your eyeballs a little bit. Not saying you guys, I'm saying me. Where are my tweezers? I just had them. Move that out of the way. Goodness gracious, they're probably right in front of my face. I just don't see them. Sorry, y'all. Goodness. Y'all are probably looking at them like, hey. Well, let me just use this to pull this out. Now we're going to put a little bit of super glue on there because this stuff is not that great as far as stickiness goes. You don't need a lot, you just need a very little bit, which that was actually probably a little overkill. And what we're going to do is just put it in there. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to light this whole box up and shoot up. So we're literally just lighting a word, which is flaps. So it sits on the very bottom panel like that, and that's all it lights up is flaps. So you don't need to worry about it being straight because with it going through all that and with the cob light, which I would suggest cob LEDs, boom. It'll be perfect. Oh, I will go get some LEDs though real quick to show you guys what those humps look like lit up. So, yeah, that ain't ever going to come out. Plus, once we glue it to the bottom panel, it's never going to come out. So, let me put some dabs, just on there, on there, on there, and on there. That's all you need, literally, to glue this to this. You don't want to do too much around. I did that last time and it looked ugly. You just literally need that. Just a dab on each corner. A dollop will do you, right? Push it down. Make sure it's in there. Yep, see? It's not touching that, which is perfect. Alright, let me go get my LED tester and some 5mm LEDs. I'll just get one and I'll show you guys real quick what that looks like. It looks really cool. And again, you can just daisy chain the LEDs so that way you are not having to run multiple power and ground sources. Let me see, are the LEDs out here? Sorry, y'all, I did have them somewhere because I was getting ready to wire this stuff up. We're still filming, yep. I got so much stuff out here from this project. Forgive me. Where are my LEDs? I found them. My goodness. Alright. Probably edit that out so it's not so long. Goodness gracious. Let's get these wires out of the way. Alright. Like I said, I'll just get one. Get some white ones. We'll just go right in the middle, huh? Put my tester on it. Oh, should have thought about that. Let me go over here and flip it this way. See, I modified these. I uploaded the files already. Super helpful. See that? With all of them in, it'll look better. But here, let me turn this light off. Let me turn this light off real quick, too. So that way we can see this a lot better. Let me try to get it in the brightest spot. There we go. Yeah, you see that? See how good that looks? That's just in that one spot. So imagine all 5 of them lit up. It'll light the whole panel. But see what I was saying about how I don't like there's too much white showing. It's too much light leak. So I'm redoing them right now. And they should look a lot better. But, let me turn my lights back on. That's all you need, just these little 5mm LEDs. Which I should, hopefully, let me grab my little bitty needle nose. Should be able to just pull this right out. Oh, don't ever grab it by the sides. I just rip that up. It's okay, it's still a usable LED, but you just got to be careful. Which for these, actually, I need to buy some more LEDs, some 5mm, because I need them to be 12 volt. I think these are only like 3 volt or 5 volt LEDs. So you want to make sure you grab the right ones. If you're doing 12 volt, do 12 volt all the way around. Don't gyp yourself. You can do the 5 volt though and just run these off of the Arduino if you wanted to, but then you have a lot of devices on there. Yeah, these are 3 to 3.2 volt, 20 milliamp. So I'll have to get some 12 volt LEDs. Are these just the panel? Yeah. Or just pamphlet, which actually I don't even need, and throw it away. Alright. Well, that's it for this video, everybody. I will probably refilm my speed brake panel, because it is not great. It is vertical all the way, and nobody likes a vertical video when you're trying to put stuff together, so I apologize for that. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some good information out of this. If you have any questions, please do ask them in the comments. I will be looking and answering everything I can. Thank you.